the maypole is it's kind of like a deep ancestral ritual. It's a deep ancestral ritual that is actually European in origin, right? It made its way into the Americas, but in its original form, you know, the maypole, as the name or as they say in Spanish, palo de mayo, it's kind of like a strange thing because it's this ritual that is not, it was not in its original form, it had nothing to do with Protestantism and religion. It was kind of like this secular kind of ritualistic dancing and festivity and festival that would take place to celebrate the arrival of spring, the arrival of May, okay, the fertility, the blooming. It was a moment of associated with sexuality, with the blossoming, with fertility, with nature at its best, with the rains, with cultivation, with the harvest, and so on. So and of course, so it finds its way into the Americas. I think it's through the German Moravian Church.
Mm-hmm.
At least from what I'm seeing here, this is the case in relation to Bluefields, the Atlantic coast of Nicaragua. You know, the main town there is Bluefields.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Moravian Church is a church that Miss Lizzie was a part of. You know, she came up in the Moravian Church. She talks about growing up. She talks about her love for dancing. She talks about the stigma associated with back in the day, you know, 40s and 50s, when decent young women simply did not dance in public, you know, that kind of you know, very conservative, what you consider conservative, but very protective, and very what you call proper upbringing back in the day. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the first chance she gets, she immediately brings back this tradition. You know, the tradition had died down. It had fizzled out, and she brought it back. And from then on, it became it was kind of like a launching pad for what they call, for the carnival that they have every year in Bluefields today, you know. But so it's interesting. So the thing is, maypole, the way that Miss Lizzie envisioned maypole is a little different from the kind of more erotic kind of dancing that you see associated with some of the folklore, the folk songs, and so on that are more electronically played today.
Mm-hmm.
She takes the original traditions and she uses them, you know, and the wrapping of the maypole therefore is something that she builds on. She uses it as an excuse. She uses it to develop community relations. She uses it to teach people about their history. She uses it as a way to include the young girls, the young women, to give them something to do that would keep them off the streets. The same, she encouraged the young men to come and play the instruments, to join in the dancing. So, you know, it was more than just historical recuperation. It was her way of a design strategically meant to secure and develop and enrich and bring back that sense of community that she saw dwindling away, especially into the contemporary period, you know,
Mm-hmm.
into the 21st century, as all these other influences came into being, and it suddenly became old-fashioned to do certain kinds of things, or to be a certain way, or to dance, or to refer to old forms of music and so on, right? So that, I think, and was she successful? Hugely so. She got the support of the Nicaraguan Sandinista government and so on. And most importantly, she helped the community to gel and to hold firm, you know. They produced a lovely book, La Memoria, I think it's called Memorias de Bluefields. It's a little bilingual book. Very nice book, very nice cover. They produced a YouTube video And so it was so there were several moments there that were very, very interesting. The group became so well versed in the steps. She was an excellent teacher. They traveled, they went to several countries, they represented the Sandinista Nicaragua of the time, they were able to travel, and they became quite famous. And she brought back something that gave people a sense of purpose, a sense of their history, a sense of their origins. And that, I think, perhaps was the most important part, why she became I would call the icon, the icon of this particular town at this particular moment. Right?
I
Mhm.
I
Just,
had a
just
question about
mhm,
some, I guess, to give the audience a sense of the type of people we're talking about. Are
mhm.
these Afro descendant peoples you're referring to in Nicaragua?
Yes, they are, of course. That's an important point. These are Afro-descendant peoples who trace their place of origin back to the Caribbean islands, the English-speaking Caribbean islands like Jamaica, Antigua, Barbados, St. Kitts and Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago, and so on. That's the place that they migrated from. When you go to Bluefields, you will feel as if you're in Port of Spain or Castries or Bridgetown. It's amazing that they have the same accents, the houses look the same, they dress the same, they eat the same kinds of foods. They like the plantains and the
Mm-hmm.
cassavas and the salted fish, and and they use a lot of coconut, and it's like it's as if you're on the Caribbean island. You forget that you are in Central America, on the coast, on the Atlantic coast. It's unbelievable. You feel you have that island feel to the place. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people go to church. People speak English Creole. Their references, the words they use, they remind you their accents. It's amazing. It's as if they never left the islands. You wouldn't. It's as if this too is Caribbean, which is
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a continental Caribbean, but it's clearly a Caribbean identity without a doubt.